Hello everybody, it's the Nitty Professor here with our favorite cat, Paris, to ask the question of why casting stuff on is so much more fun than finishing our knitting project. So here's one that I'm working on, and I'm going to try to keep everything organized here while dealing with my very frisky cat. Now, I'll begin with a confession, which is, and I did a little short on this, I decided I had to cast on this hat. Now, this was partly the result of doing another video. I think it might have been about my fancy yarn or my yarn stash, one or the other. So, of course, now I have my mohair catching on my project bag here. We don't want that. But in any case, I was going through some of my yarn and I found these two delightful skeins that I had gotten in Toronto going on 2 years ago, thinking they would make a nice hat. So on the one hand, we have Spin Cycle Yarns Dream State in the color Vibe Check. This is a superwash worsted weight 100% American wool, beautiful yarn, just gorgeous. I picked it up at the Knitting Loft, which I highly recommend if you're in Toronto. Maybe you're from Toronto and you're watching right now and you know exactly what I mean when I say it's a gorgeous, fantastic store. I just love that store. Going to Toronto again at the end of May, beginning of June for my Hungarian conference, and I'm very excited about visiting that store again. So the other yarn that I decided to pair with it, because believe it or not, there is buried inside of here, there's yellow. Hey, kitty cats. They're making my blind cat mad. This gorgeous yellow floof is from my Denmark trip last summer. It's called Gepard Kid Seta, 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. So I am combining those and really enjoying it. I mean, what's not fun here? I mean, it's just, you know, so cool to watch these colors change with the spin cycle and to see how the yellow interacts with it. Maybe I'm thinking about selling. Did I show you the label? In any case, that's the label. And yes, this is made in Denmark. Yes. So anyhow, guilty. I mean, I just had to cast it on just one night. I'm working on these sweaters and I've got 2 of them going, and as soon as I'm done, which I'm actually making pretty good progress. So right sleeve, I mean the sleeve, it's getting pretty long here. I'll hold it up to this sleeve and see. So I'm over the elbow now. Look at that. I'm over the elbow. That's good. Obviously it's only the first sleeve, so you know. Let's look at this one a little bit. So going back, I have the very nice selection of brown sheep yarn that I've acquired. It's very readily available in this area because it's from Mitchell, Nebraska, and I've even found a lot of it in thrift stores, and there's a woman out of Sioux Falls who has discount brown sheep yarn for, I don't know, it's probably like half price, maybe even lower. So I got this book in Norway a year ago. In fact, I have memories of my trip to Trondheim. It was so fun, so magical, and it was 1 year ago. So I bought this book, and I'm kind of using like the structure of how this color work is sort of built to inform the structure of my motif. So obviously I have different colors, I have different motifs, but as far as, so I've got like the main color, then a stripe, main color, and then kind of a border, a motif, a border, main color, stripe, main color, then a smaller motif going on, and just going up like that. And I'm going to change up the motifs, and let me see if I can find a better picture so you can see how I'm just sort of using this. This book is by Una Cecilia. My pronunciation is probably off, but as far as I know, she's Norwegian. So it's a different color, but you can kind of see how we have, you know, again, similar thing. Main color, stripe, main color, motif, main color, stripe, then a smaller motif, main color, stripe, main color, and then going on like that. So I'm sort of using this like structure of the color work, even though I'm choosing a lot of different motifs. In fact, most of my motifs I'm choosing from this book, 150 Scandinavian Motifs. And yeah, the body of the sweater is done. I even did my short row shaping, which I got from a sweater pattern. It's an Icelandic sweater pattern. I'll try to remember the name of it. But in any case, I keep doing my short row shaping the same way every time. And I keep having, obviously, my contingent of sock projects going on. And I think I've discovered that a lot of you are like me. You like to knit socks when you need to stay sane, and it has to be something small and portable. Say you're in a doctor's office, or with me a lot of times it's meetings, or in my observation at the School for the Blind that I'm doing, or if I only have limited time, like dinner's over but orchestra rehearsal starts in 45 minutes, I'll knit for 20 minutes. So here's one sock that I'm making pretty good progress on this, and this is sock number 1. So I knit to 8.5 inches on the shaft, but doesn't that look nice? I like how it's pooling. That's kind of cool. So pooling totally differently on the foot, looks more like stripes. And then on the shaft, different effect. And I always do ribbing all the way up the sock because I have experienced how it doesn't like fall down. It stays up on my leg, and I use the Jenny's stretchy bind off, so I don't have problems with constriction at the top. So I just have this lovely 3x1 ribbing going all the way up. So I'm making progress on that sock, and show you another sock I was working on today. I should show you the yarn. So this yarn, I'm sure I've showed it to you before, but it doesn't hurt to show it again. Compass Moon Creations, that is the yarn. So this colorway is called Calming, and it has some alpaca mixed in with it. So merino, alpaca, and nylon. People are trying to convince me to get away from nylon, and I kind of agree with that. I do have some 100% wool sock yarn that I plan to try. In fact, a friend of mine knows how to spin sock yarn. There's a special way to add the twist to make it more durable. One of these days, I might try to do that. Whoops, I left out a needle. So then the other one that I'm working on, I think I got this yarn at a fiber festival. I'm not sure. I go to a couple of fiber festivals every year. I go to the one in Fargo, and I go to the one in Watertown, South Dakota. So on rare occasion, I stumble upon another one, but that's at this point kind of where I'm sort of tied to my work, but I'm going to retire soon, so who knows. So this one I'm making progress on. I was working on this today. And this is also sock number 1, but isn't that pretty? I got this again at the Knitting Loft. Sort of a jade, emerald green. Looks really pretty. So I'm a couple inches up on the shaft of the sock. And this yarn is a German yarn. It's fun. Schwedenrot yarns. No idea how you would say that without speaking German. Luxury sock, merino and nylon. It's beautiful. Hand dyed. This color is called Cactus, and I'm very happy with it. In any case, so I am making progress, but still I just had to cast on something new, and a part of me feels like this is, it's like a complex, like, what's wrong with me, right? I can't finish something, right? I mean, everything I've showed you here is obviously not done. So I'll make some progress on this hat while I'm talking, but I decided that could use a little help. So I went to my friendly psychologist, ChatGPT, to look into what's going on. Like, why is it that I have this need to cast something on when I have all these unfinished projects? I mean, I have way more unfinished projects than I do finished ones. I mean, it's kind of scandalous, really. So I've learned some things here. I called up ChatGPT, and if you prefer Claude or Gemini or something, let me know. I use it because, I don't know, I'm kind of used to it. It's got like my whole conversations going on that I've asked. The last one was trying to write in my novel about emotional scenes, and I was tired of using the same verbiage to communicate that someone's crying. So I looked up the topic, apparently, facial cues for crying. So how would you know that someone's crying based on their facial expressions? Gave me some pretty good ideas. So I could introduce like 2 new vocabulary words. But in any case, so here's what ChatGPT said. Number 1, it says this is a common phenomenon. So that was like, oh, I'm not alone, right? And I'll just read off. It says it boils down to a mix of psychological, emotional, and even neurological factors. Here are some key reasons. So the first one, it just right away I could identify. It says the thrill of novelty. New projects come with fresh excitement, creativity, and a sense of endless possibilities. I mean, it sounds a little bit overblown. So let me show you the pattern that I'm using for this hat. In German, this translates to the 0815 Mütze, the 0815 hat. It's a very traditional hat. Very, I mean, you know, who hasn't knit this hat, right? So endless possibilities, is that maybe overdoing it a little bit? To, you know, it's just a hat, folks. But, you know, on the other hand, I don't know, the colors, right? The way they're transforming, that does seem kind of cool in a universal way. Oh, here's something else. The brain releases dopamine when we start something new. That I didn't know. Making it feel rewarding. So I have given myself a badly needed injection of dopamine by starting this hat. And when you think about it, you know, something so small, like just, oh, I'm just gonna knit a hat. It made me like really happy to start it. In contrast, unfinished projects may feel stale or burdensome. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, the planning fallacy. Now I've run across that, like specifically with this sweater. When starting a new project, people often underestimate the time, effort, and difficulties involved. So I've certainly been guilty of that. I'll see like a gorgeous needlepoint, right? I showed you that huge needlepoint. I showed my German friends anyhow. I'll have to show it in English. This canvas that I bought in Paris in 1979. I mean, it's huge, and I've literally needlepointed like 4/5 of it. This thing is probably 6 feet across. I'm still not done. So, you know, I'm sure I underestimated the time and effort that would be involved. The early stages feel easy and exciting, but as reality sets in, motivation fades. Yeah. I have felt that. Okay, here's point number 3 is perfectionism and the fear of completion. Yep, guilty as charged. I think sometimes you almost, like, it could let you down, or maybe it won't turn out as nicely as you thought. I mean, I think about this sweater and I love this sweater, but sometimes I'm like, the sleeves are a little tight, the collar's a little off, you know, so it's like, I don't want to be disappointed after all that work. Some people hesitate to finish projects because they fear they won't meet their high standards. I don't worry so much about this, but maybe it's true. Finishing a project means facing judgment, whether self-criticism or external feedback. Let me know if you run across some of these. I'd be really curious where you stand, you know, because this is just, obviously, it's a conglomeration of all the information that it finds trawling the internet, but I'm sure you can relate to some of these points. So here's another reason why people love to cast on a new hat instead of finishing their sweater. Sunk cost fallacy and avoidance. That's point number 4. If a project has become difficult or frustrating, abandoning it for a new one feels like an escape. Yep. Yeah, I can identify that. Instead of pushing through challenges, people shift focus to something easier and more fun. So the sweater, you know, and I was thinking about this, like, we'll just take this sweater. So for example, sorry about the noise, I finished the body, right? So I got up to like here, and then I had to fix the short row shaping. So I had to figure out how many more rows do I need back here, and what motif will work here that will work back here too. It's like all of a sudden I have this problem. Or I get here and then now I have to attach the sleeves. Attaching the sleeves is hard. When I do the sleeves, I have to figure out the increases. And here, like, I didn't really quite figure them out right. And in the meantime, I had to figure out, as I'm increasing, how to switch up the designs to match what's on the body and get the count right. It's just, it like turned out, it was challenging, and this isn't. So that's point number 4. Number 5. Ooh, yeah. We're talking about a hobby. So the point that ChatGPT has, this number 5, is lack of external pressure. If you don't have a deadline, no external kind of accountability, you're not waiting to get paid, you can push it aside. Many personal projects are self-imposed, meaning there's no immediate consequence for leaving them unfinished. And believe me, I've left some unfinished. It's kind of scandalous. I mean, they've been sitting there unfinished 5-6 years, maybe more. I'd be curious what your experience is. Like, what's the longest project that you have lying there that you haven't touched? What's like the biggest gap between now and when you worked on it? Number 6, we're getting towards the end here. There are 7 total. 6 shifting interests and evolving priorities. Well, maybe I need this hat because you know what? Summer's coming, right? Interests naturally evolve, and what once seemed exciting may no longer feel relevant. Well, I must admit, it was the yarn. People, it was the yarn. I had to knit with this yarn. Or people may realize the project is not aligned with their goals anymore. So I'm not sure how much that really, I mean, it could apply to knitting. Like maybe, well, you could get sidetracked, right? Oh, I wanted to do cables, but color work, I've got to do color work. So that could apply. And by the way, when the prompt I engineered, I just put projects in general. I didn't put knitting in there. It'd be interesting to see how it would change. It was just knitting specifically. So we'll see how 7 applies. Decision fatigue and cognitive load. This is going into what I was just saying. Unfinished projects often require problem solving and decision making. What did I just say? Which can feel mentally exhausting. Every time I finish the sweater, I have to find the one video that tells me how to Kitchener stitch the armpits. And I've made like a dozen. And I still, it's the problem solving. I'm like, it's going to take time. I have to find the video. There's like only one that I can use, right? And it's so old now that I have to go digging because I should bookmark it. I probably bookmarked it, but it was so long ago that I have to scroll way down. Can't find it. Problem solving, have to make decisions, right? What collar am I going to use? Am I going to do rolled, or am I going to overlap it, or just do a plain, what bind off am I going to use, right? So it can be mentally exhausting. A new project might feel easier because it doesn't yet have these roadblocks. So now, even though I didn't ask it, ChatGPT is really looking out for me. You know, it's just really good psychologist here. I got a pat on the back here. How to overcome this. If you struggle with this, you might try. So 1, setting deadlines. Oh my goodness, and the clock is like responding. Yeah, let me help you with that. So I don't know. I think that would stress me out. I want knitting to be fun. So I'd probably, I'm not going to take that advice, ChatGPT. No offense. Okay. So the next one is breaking old projects into smaller, manageable steps. 1 stitch at a time, 1 row at a time. I mean, mentally, right, I could say, well, I'm just going to do 2 rows. Like literally, I got out a project that I have been making with sock yarn for the past, 5 years. A sweater with sock yarn, held single, like 400 stitches going across with a colorwork cat. And one night I got it out, I was like, I'm going to do 2 rows. And I did. And then I put it away again. But in any case, I did, like, if I did that, like, once a week, 2 rows, right? I could have it done in 4 years. Maybe, you know? Point number 3, committing to finishing one thing before starting another. Now, I know there are people out there, you're probably in this group. Like, if I watch Fruity Knitting, that's Andrea's whole spiel. It's like, oh, I never have a stash. I just finish what I'm doing, and then I move on. And I'm like, girl, I can't even function that way. I would stop knitting before I went that route. But now here's one I can get on board with. Reframing completion is exciting rather than stressful. Maybe we could do that. What do you think? Just build it up in your mind as I'm going to finish this. Now, one of the sweaters I'm working on, I really am getting close. I'm up here, right? I mean, that's the end is in sight. And I'm looking forward to sharing it on a video, you know, and that hopefully in the next week. So I like that one. I think that's my favorite point. And I should, it's ChatGPT, it's got my back here. Do you personally relate to this? Is there a particular project you've been stuck on? Maybe I should tell it about my needlepoint that I got in Paris in 1979. I'm going to see what happens. Yes, my needle, we'll see what happens. Point project that I started in 1979. Let's see if it has an answer. Okay. Wow. It's got emotions. That's a true vintage work in progress. What originally inspired you to start it, and do you still feel connected to the design or purpose behind it? I have a feeling this conversation could get a little involved. So I think I should quit while I'm ahead. But in any case, if you can relate to this topic, share your thoughts. It'd be nice to not have to just rely on my machine here to get me over this hump. But in any case, if you cast on something new in the past week when you have 25 things you didn't finish, welcome to the club. Y'all have a great week. Bye.